Shalom guys, I have a special treat for you today. This is actually going to be the first part of several videos from our Israel trip. Now, I think before we went to Israel, I promised that I would put together a little bit of a video on how to go to or how to travel the country on a bit of a budget, or how to do so less expensively than picking up a tour group or something of that, signing up with a tour group or something of that sort. So let me give you, I've got a number of segments of video that were shot along the way. I'm not going to go to the great trouble of trying to do a lot of editing in between and little discussions in between, because that will just make this longer. But I'm going to just run back to back multiple videos here. Now, what we did, and based on the way this first video starts, I must have lost somewhere a shorter video clip that talks a little bit about how we planned this or how we set this up. So let me give you some quick background. The way that we normally travel to Israel is what we will do. We will select the dates that we want to go, and then and typically those are connected with a feast, or going up for Passover or going up for Sukkot. And then we have been at Shavuot, though that's a much shorter feast, and then we just arrived early and stayed late for other things as an opportunity. Different times we will stay either in Jerusalem or near Jerusalem. We've done that many times, and then on occasion we'll take forays into different parts of the country, which is what we did this time. So we'll get parts of that in some of the videos that are coming up, detailing what we did, where we went, some of the sites we saw, and this sort of thing. Typically what we will do is we will plan our dates, figure out our dates, schedule book the plane tickets, and then we will schedule Airbnbs. We will find Airbnbs within our budget. Now, all of the Airbnbs that we had here could sleep anywhere from 4 to, actually, I guess all of them could sleep closer to between 6 and 10 people, some more than that. And in most circumstances, the Airbnbs can be booked for anywhere from $130 US to about, I think we paid maybe as much as $150 a night. But even $150 a night divided between 4 people, plus factoring in cost of food, it still makes it less than $50 a day if we don't count the car. If we were traveling with 6 or 8 people and maybe 2 rental cars, but then dividing up lodging and food costs even further, the cost per day comes down considerably. We have traveled many times on less than $50 a day, including lodging, 2 meals a day, and the vehicle. We've done that many times in Israel, less than $50 a day per person when we're traveling with multiple people. Car rental is a different story in Israel. We can talk about that maybe a little bit later on. Typically, the insurance alone will nearly double your car rental costs, but the car itself, with a good 4 or even 5 or 6 passenger, you can do for $60 or $70 a day plus insurance. So maybe $100, $110 or $115 a day, something like that. But for convenience and for the ability to get to the sites that you want to go see, not necessarily being bound to a tour bus, and to be able to do it at your own pace, taking your time, going through, enjoying. Obviously, you miss some of the depth of understanding or knowledge that might be shared by a tour guide, but on the other side, you have the freedom to go where you want to go, do what you want to do, be with whom you want to be with, etc. And so all of those we count as real conveniences and just being able to go into the land. I will say, with regards to driving, the blue line works. Okay, typically did a lot of things with MapQuest, just your regular Google MapQuest, but also did some things with Waze, which is originally, I think, an Israeli company. Very, very accurate, very detailed, very good directions, tells you where the not to go zones are, and that sort of thing as well. So All of that to give you a rough idea. So this video right here will begin with packing here in the U.S. We'll begin with it doesn't cover so much of the planning, but it gives you an idea of what our thought process was packing this time around. And interestingly, we packed for the possibility of having to even be on foot if we had to do something of that sort, like hiking, which was totally unusual considering we wound up being there during the beginning stages, the first 10 days or so of the current war that's going on with Hamas and Hezbollah. But it just gives you an idea of some of the things to pack, some of the things to think about, and this sort of thing. I hope that helps. Also, we have I've got some clips here of grocery haul, give you an idea of purchasing food and that sort of thing. I do not have any footage of being in the Shuk at Machane Yehuda, but that's a fantastic, huge open-air market, or somewhat covered market, but shops, and you can get all the produce and all the food and all the stuff that you want there. So all of that. So let me just run these clips back to back to back to give you kind of an idea, and then we'll have some detailed videos coming up of different locations that we went to visit and some shots on site and that sort of thing. So I hope you enjoy this. I hope it helps you gain or glean a little bit of an understanding on the process to get ready to go. Not hard, highly encourage it. To be perfectly honest, the Torah, I believe, says that we're to go up 3 times a year, but there are concessions allowed in the Torah if you can't make it that often. Nevertheless, I think it's something that we all need to be doing on a regular basis if we believe that we are part of the people and if we belong in the land. So more on that later on, some upcoming discussions and such on that as well. So fantastic. Love you guys. I hope you enjoyed these. I'll just put a real quick note at the end. Okay, guys, so as we continue this series, or this particular video on getting ready to travel to Israel, I want to show you a couple things. We're in the process right now of packing. We've done a lot of the planning in terms of setting up Airbnbs, setting up car and flights. We've already talked about some of that. But what I want to do right now is just show you a little bit about what we are doing, at least this go round, packing wise. Doing something a little bit different, where in the past we've traveled with some suitcases, some medium-sized suitcases. Obviously, international travel, you typically have about a 50-pound or 22 kilos, it might be, in terms of 20 kilos in terms of what you're allowed to pack. And for this particular trip, instead of doing what we normally do with suitcases, we have decided we're going to use backpacks. And so I have actually I do some sewing and I do some leather work. We happen to be in the room. It's guest bedroom right here, but I've got one leather sewing machine right there. And then I'll pan around here to some other leather work stuff that I have here. I'll pull it out as I need it and work on leather stuff. But I designed some bags that we're going to use that will protect these backpacks. But we're going to travel this time. Our goal is to travel completely prepared for being able to do things on foot if we needed to or if we wanted to. With international travel, usually when you travel someplace, you need to make sure that your electric outlets will work. In Israel, everything is 2-prong, and it is all 220. So this is a large 2-prong, and I'm using a different adapter than I've used in the past that will allow me to plug in a couple, I guess my laptop, and I've got some camera equipment and stuff. But this also, besides plugging into that, will give me multiple USB ports for recharging. Other things that we are traveling with, often when I travel, I like to carry my own. I don't like plastic, so I carry some of these really lightweight stainless insulated cups. Good for coffee, good for a little wine in the evening, that sort of thing. That's kind of a nice benny to have. We've planned carefully with our clothes so that we can use multiple things multiple times. We know where we've got access to washing machines and that sort of thing to try to keep things a little bit on the lighter side, but also have some books that I'm taking, some other things here. Typically lots of extra empty trash bags, and then shoes and stuff like that in bags to keep it separate from everything else. One thing that we're doing this time that we have not done in the past, we're trying to build a little bit of a better hiking setup. And so I have gotten, for both Kelly and myself, I've gotten hiking pants with the bottoms that zip off so that they double as shorts. That way, they're ultra lightweight. They dry very quickly if we're caught in a situation where we have to be able to wash and just hang out our clothes. But also they are multi-purpose, so it's not just long pants or just short pants, but instead I can use them both ways. They come with a little web belt, fairly inexpensive. I think about $35 a pair or $40 a pair we paid online for those. Sometimes you have to take your own linens. Sometimes your own bath accessories. So we're taking a couple towels with us this go round as well, because we know what we're going to be doing. One of the days we plan to go baptize in the Sea of Galilee and maybe have a chance to just do some swimming and a little bit. That's part of the plan for one of the days that we're up at Tiberias. We'll do that one afternoon. Kelly likes to take some food bars with her, so she's got snacks and things that she knows she can depend on. That sort of thing. And yes, we're suckers. One of the things we know about Israel is that Israel's got some great coffee shops, and we'll go visit some coffee shops. But in terms of what you can get to have in your room or at an Airbnb or something like that, typically the coffee is all instant. We don't care for instant coffee, so we're suckers. We're taking a couple bags of ground coffee. We tend to grind it. Coffee snobs here, we grind our own every day. But this way we can have fairly fresh ground coffee, and that sort of thing. So this will give you an idea. I'll give you a shot of this once we get it all packed up and put away. And then let me show you, camera bag and some of that stuff. Hold on. So for camera bag, I'm actually going to be carrying, I don't know if this box, I've got it so it'll lock. It's a hard shell box, but in that I have, well, thank you, sweetheart. I appreciate that. In this box right here, I've got it set up pretty tightly with an extra voice recorder, GoPro set up. I've got some other pieces that go with it, lapel mic, a couple different stands for things that I can use. And then I will have my laptop, my Bible, some basic carry-on stuff. I'll use this as my carry-on. I personally always travel with some extra Tums. And for this trip right here, often when I go to Israel, I will travel with some silver. A portion of this I will leave as a gift to some of the people in the land as we go, and a portion of it is for us in case we need something while we're traveling. So I will have that with me on my person going, and then if I have any left over, I'll have that coming back with me. So that laptop, I'll also have, obviously the power cords. I'll have a 2 terabyte hard drive with me. I'll have a camera stabilizer, an auto stabilizer with me, and right now I'm charging up a couple phone battery things as backups, but these also double with a solar charger in case we get caught in a situation where we don't have power. We can charge up our phones, etc., using solar power. This one right here I've had for a couple years, and it actually folds out. It's got a multiple solar segment that folds out. You can lay that out in the sun and it'll pick up a pretty good charge pretty fast. And then it's got a cord that you can just plug in, USB port plug in, and suck the power into your phone or any other battery powered item like that. So those are a few extra backup sort of things, just contingency plans. So a trip like this is a cross between a bug out bag or a heavy bug out bag, and between personal comforts and some creature comforts and that sort of thing. So that'll give you a little bit of an idea of how we pack to make a trip to the land. And for this particular journey, we're not planning on doing any backpacking. We're not planning on doing any backpacking or camping. We have done that in the past. However, this go round, we will be prepared in the event that we wind up having to take care of things on foot or that sort of thing. It's just always smart, particularly going into a region. Israel's very safe for the most part, but things can always be destabilized pretty quickly. And we want to be prepared for the possibility that if something like that happens, we're not completely unprepared. All right, guys, we are rolling out. Got Gunner behind the wheel and pulling out right now, heading toward the airport. Got I guess about a 10:30 check-in for a 1:30 flight to fly out of Charlotte. So the journey begins, headed back to the land. First time in at least 3 years for Kelly and me. Gunner was able to go. He's been twice since the whole sea debacle. But this is going to be fun. We're looking forward to it. Hey guys, here we are getting ready to head out to Rome. There's room for a whole bunch of people on here. Look at this. Look at all those empty seats. The plane is fully loaded, it looks like, at this point. I don't think we've got anybody else coming in the door. And there's enough room to put 50 of y'all on here. Right? Isn't that right?
Come and join us.
You see that row right there? It's got my name on it after dinner. I'm gonna flip up the seats and lay down and go to sleep. So when you get into Israel, after you go through getting your baggage and everything, you come out under the customs sign into a rotunda. A great big open area, coffee shops and some other little shops around. And from here you can go find your car. Actually, if you go upstairs, up those stairs to the second floor, the car rental places are all the way at the back. Otherwise, places here to hang out, wait, meet people, collect your group, tour groups, individuals. Sometimes it's really crowded. Right now, it's kind of moderate. It could be a whole lot heavier than this. Under some circumstances, it's a lot heavier than this. But this will give you kind of a flavor for what the inside of the airport looks like. And from here, if you're renting a car, of course, you'd go up and get your car rental and go from there. So, just a little bit of a quick idea of what the inside of the airport looks like here, and how to go about getting things taken care of here for your trip. All right, guys, so I've got a little impromptu video for you, just a quick idea here. We just had to go do some grocery shopping. Now, we have done this many times. This is our 8th trip to Israel. A lot of times going to find a big grocery center and be able to go in there and shop. But we have a corner market right here that's fairly well, probably 6 or 7 aisles that's fairly well appointed. A pretty good selection of most everything. So I wanted to do I've seen people do a haul, like whether they got a haul from Azure. I know a friend that does an Azure haul video periodically. I want to show you a little bit about what it's like to go to an Israeli grocery store. And this is also part of how to travel Israel cheaper than eating out and all of that. Makes life a whole lot less expensive. Particularly if you're doing an Airbnb and staying in a home or staying in an apartment somewhere where you can prepare food and such. Typically, when you go to an Israeli store, you need to take your own bags, and we have these from the Rami Levy. We actually stick them in our suitcase or whatever we're packing every time that we travel to Israel. We got these many years ago. I say many, probably 5 or 6 years ago. And we've got a whole stack of these. They don't weigh anything to haul, but it's a good thing to have. So let me start laying stuff out here just to kind of give you an idea of some of the stuff. A lot of shopping. We have learned to shop using the pictures, because pictures are important, particularly when you can't read what's on the label, or you can sort of sound out some of the things on the label. But a lot of things that we have found over the, no brand loyalty, but for us, things that we like. Of course, we've got some gavina, some cheese. We like whipped yogurt. We often get that. Get cans of olives, grapes. Look for butter. Get a good high quality butter. A lot of fresh fruits and veggies. In this case, some of it pre-packaged. These are little tiny cukes. They were out of the big ones. It's late in the day. We've got some tomatoes, some other goodies. We are restocking a few. Let's see what else I can get here. I apologize for the camera work. I'm trying to do this with one hand, and Kelly's moving stuff out of the way as we go. We're planning on some spaghetti. She said she had hankering for some peanut butter and jelly, so we found some jelly here, a strawberry jelly. What was most fun was trying to figure out, when we were looking at the tomato sauces and stuff, what is some things labeled. You look at this, some things labeled partially in English, some things with no English, and you sort of have to figure it out. Yeah, that's what pictures are for, right? This is a fun game. And sometimes you open something up and get a real surprise, and it's like, oh, that's not what I thought it was going to be. We had to hunt all over the place to find the ground beef, which you see right here. The first one we found, I was like, yippee, found the ground beef. And then started looking at it, and I realized, wait a minute, everything around it is plant-based. And I realized it was some vegan, plant-based whatever. And the produce is particularly beautiful. Look at this lettuce. We got some Cheerios, so we have some breakfast, because we have some milk already. Always fresh bread. Always lots of different fresh breads. And we have some sandwich-making breads from the other day. As well as some of the things that we brought up. And of course, if we're in the land, we must have Israeli wines, so you can find some sales. And this is a good Cabernet Sauvignon from Carmel, and they had them 3 for 100 shekels, something like that. So they're about $10 bottles of wine. So 3 for $10 a piece. So that's nice, and anything left over we will leave here with the owner of the home, any of the other things that we have. So that'll give you an idea of going into an Israeli supermarket. Maybe we'll take a little bit of video inside if we go back over there in the next day or two. But very convenient, very close walk. We literally walked down there and then did our shopping and the bags back. Not uncommon here. A lot of people depend on public transportation and or walking or riding a bicycle. Everything, a lot of the basic necessities are very close. There's not a need to get up and drive somewhere for most people, which is common. A car here is frightfully expensive. Gas here is probably somewhere in the $8 or $9 a gallon range. Most cars are super efficient. Very comfortable, very nice, very small, but that's pretty normal. So we'll have to talk about that a little bit too in the next day or two. But I wanted to share our grocery haul and cleaning off the counter and putting everything away here about as fast as we can talk about this. She'll get it all put in the refrigerator, and we try to eat our stuff and not use anything from the host home and that sort of thing. Though he came by a bit ago and said, please eat some of the fruit so it doesn't go bad. So we will take care of some of his fruit for him and probably leave some fruit behind that is fresher. So anyway, wanted to share that with you real quick. Just a little bit of a grocery haul, give you an idea of what it's like, again, in a foreign country, language we don't necessarily understand. We know a little bit, probably just enough to get into trouble. But this is a way to take care of your food and do it on the cheap or cheaper. So multiple meals here for, what was the bill, dear?
I don't remember.
300 shekels, something like that. There's about $100 or less. It was probably a little less than $100, but we covered multiple meals and expect to have somebody over here for dinner. You saw a pile of spaghetti. So expect to have a family over here for dinner either tomorrow evening or the following evening. So we're getting ready and we'll feed them and enjoy fellowshipping with some brothers in the Messiah. All right. Shalom, shalom from Jerusalem. So guys, I hope you enjoyed that. Now what we've got, I will have a couple follow-on videos that detail some different segments of our journey and some places that we visited. One will be around the Galilee. One will be some of our odds and ends, different places we went. I do want to do a video dedicated to our trip up to Tel Dan, because that is the second time that we've been up there, and I think that's a very, very important video to understand and to get a feel for. And when you have the opportunity, maybe not on your first trip or so, but when you have the opportunity to travel all the way up to the very northern parts of Israel, to Tel Dan, to go up and do what we did. More details on that in that video. So there will be some more videos following on. Thank you so much for coming along with us on the preparations and sort of a how-to. Come along with us on some of the what we did videos, and we look forward to having you. Maybe here in the future, some of you can travel with us. That would be fantastic. Or if you've got questions, contact us directly. Happy to help. Anything that we can do to help get others of our brothers into the land to go visit, to go see, to go taste, to go touch. And speaking of tasting, I probably haven't mentioned this elsewhere, but a friend of mine says that it's not just important to get into the land, but it's important to get the land into you. And so eating the produce of the land, drinking the wine of the land, spending time drinking the water, spending time with your feet in the soil, and being able to touch and to be around and to see. It not only makes Scripture come alive so much more, but there's a connection there. If you belong in the land, there's a connection that will draw you unmistakably to the land. And so I bless you, and I look forward to sharing some of that with you. And I hope you guys will dig deeply into that very piece of information and see how it relates to you as part of Kol Israel. So fantastic. For King and Kingdom, I bid you shalom.